A lot of people think that this L-TWOO hydraulic group set could be the replacement for the Shimano 105 group set. And today is the start of our journey to see if those people are correct. I bought this L-TWOO carbon group set for £355.21 precise. From AliExpress, a place where many people have started to lurk these days. £355 is more than it was meant to be, but supply and demand, my friends, and there seems to be plenty of demand. But why is this group set such a big deal? Who actually cares? Well, with the third tier Shimano 105 group set now going electric and costing over £1,000 on a good day, the market needs a shift, pun intended. This is the first video in a journey of discovery. How does this group set compare on first impression to other group sets that will break your bank? Now, an expert mechanic of 17 years is going to be installing this group set on a brand new frame that is arriving soon, hopefully. So we will truly see if this is trash or treasure and get his expert opinion along the way. Despite some interesting conversations with the seller of this L-TWOO hydraulic group set, the main box arrived in 4 weeks after purchase, and the mineral oil arrived separately in just 2 weeks. Now, it was like a tease. I had this little bottle of hydraulic fluid as a reminder for 2 weeks that I was waiting for the main box to arrive. But then there was a knock on the door. An ASOS delivery driver, then another ASOS delivery driver, and another. But then it arrived. So in the box we have the shifters with a satisfying plastic pill, the rear derailleur, the front derailleur, and the calipers. The calipers also came with the hydraulic hoses attached. Now there was also a bag of bits that honestly had more screws than a piece of IKEA furniture. On first impressions, everything feels pretty solid. You know that initial feeling you have when you're holding something mechanical for the first time? Everything is tight, it had quite a bit of weight as well, and the shifts also felt very definite, which installs some initial confidence. But let's take it up a gear and dive a little deeper. So these are the calipers, sleek and pretty modern in design. Looking good is half the battle, which is what my friend said, not my words. The hydraulic cables attached to the brake calipers are different lengths, 170mm for the rear and 700mm for the front. The eagle-eyed among you would have noticed that there are no kinks in the cables, which if you had seen Luke's video over on Trace Fellow, was an issue with his group set. Luckily, my hydraulic housings are in good condition. They are wound tighter than a slinky though, which I'm sure will make them fun to install. I've also seen conflicting information on what size discs you can and can't use with these calipers, but there were enough mounts that came in the box to start a small Jenga tower. There are adapters with 140mm to 180mm written on them in the box. We'll see what the expert mechanic has to say about that in a future video. The first caliper weighed 162 grams and the second weighed 182 grams. Let's see what else is in the box. Both derailleurs come neatly packed in their designated slots in this big old chunk of foam. This is the carbon version of the group set, which obviously makes a difference to performance. You can see the parts on the rear derailleur that are carbon in this shot here. Now the largest cassette that you can use with this rear derailleur is a 34 tooth. The springs have good tension, it feels well built, and it shines pretty nicely under the light. But until I'm shifting through 12 gears like a bat out of hell, we won't really know how well it performs. What I can tell you though for certain is the rear derailleur weighs a grand total of 220 grams. The front derailleur is pretty much the same with much less going on. It's a braze-on type style which mounts onto this part of your frame. It's also a yaw style, which is some sort of technology that obviously adds to the price and improves the shifting for that one time a year you go into the little chain ring when you're going uphill. There is also this little adjuster arm that can be used to fine tune the shifting, which is a design that I can definitely get on board with. It's always a pain for me getting the front shifter spot on with no chain rub, so this is a great touch for sure. The front derailleur weighed a grand total of 100 grams, like a feather. Now, let's take a look at the main event. We will look at the ergonomics shortly, but first let's take a look at the shifters. Both the lever sections are carbon on these levers. You can see the carbon effect attacking your eyeballs. I'm indifferent about carbon levers because I'm not sure how they would deal with an impact or if your bike fell over and hit your lever. The hoods feel good, and most importantly, they are a snug fit. You certainly don't want your hoods to feel like a loose sock.
Bit weird.
Apparently they are some magical silicone rubber material, which it mentions on the website. Onto the flappy paddle shifting, and the thing that I'm yet to be convinced about, and I'll explain why shortly. So we have this extra lever that is designed for your thumb. So we have the smallest lever to push inwards to shift, and then we have the thumbs which are going to shift in the opposite direction. Now, unless you played a ridiculous amount of thumb wars when you were young, this may not be instinctual for you. Okay, so on the hood, not too bad, but you want me to change gear with my thumb when I'm in the drops. So with my hands on the shifters, how do they feel? Pretty damn good. The shape of the shifter feels good in my hand and I can get a firm grip. Now, if you have large hands or large fingers, they may come round and hit that thumb shifter, but that's pure speculation for all you spaghetti fingers out there. When on the hoods, I can reach the shifter, but I am moving my hands back slightly to get a sort of good leverage on the shifter. When I'm on the drops, I can also reach it, but my hands are quite far up on the drops. So it will be interesting to see how that is out on the real world, which will be coming to your screens shortly, so subscribe so you don't miss that. Both the left and the right shifters have the same tension. Now in Luke's video, he had an issue with one of his shifters being really stiff. Now mine seem to be okay though, and don't require the Hulk's thumb to shift down and Thor's hammer to press the lever across. Now I've been thinking about this method of shifting, which leads me on to the question, would you choose this method of shifting with your thumb and one lever if there were no group sets out there in the world and this was the first ever one and you had to choose? Or would you choose something like Shimano shifting where both levers move across? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm pretty hopeful that this works really well and feels good and is actually pretty good at shifting out in the real world. So I am actually really excited to see how it performs. There are two routes that you can put the shift cables in, and you can see that when looking under the rubber hood. You can also see where the hydraulic cable leaves the shifter out the back. The lever reach can be adjusted using this little screw on the front of the lever, a nice touch. And apparently you can jump 3 to 4 gears at a time with these L-TWOO shifters using their continuous release technology. I'm sure that will come in handy for that one time a year when we get caught out riding up that hill that we mentioned earlier. The left shifter weighed 277 grams and the right shifter weighed 280 grams, so pretty much the same. When we look at the weight overall, we have a grand total of 1,221 grams. That's without the magic juice that makes everything work. So, is this group set worth purchasing? Now, with the price of mainstream group sets going through the roof, cheaper group sets like this are a welcome sight for sore eyes. Well, my sore eyes anyway, to help my bank balance. But the quality still needs to be there, and I will be able to answer that properly once it's installed by our expert mechanic and he has taken a closer look. Out on the road will be the true test. So subscribe for those videos which are coming very soon. Babes,
Right, yeah.
what do you think of this L-TWOO hydraulic group set from AliExpress?
Oh my goodness. Amazing. It's actually really nice.
You like it?
Yeah, it looks
You like the
sick.
packaging?
The packaging is really cool. Very sturdy.
Would you buy it based on how it looks?
I would.
Over and out.